Dude, look at how big this protein powder is. It's a 5-pound protein powder. Today is day 18 of training like a professional bodybuilder for 30 days to see how much muscle I can put on. And this is gonna be everything I eat today. Just slammed little Starbucks pike roast black coffee. Dude, it is deep down there. I'm gonna make an absolute mess here. With this protein shake, it's gonna be 50 grams straight down the hatch. Pretty solid start to the day. I was debating getting a bagel, but I didn't and did this instead. 5 bland ass eggs, but with hot and sweet jalapenos, Trader Joe's. And this, look at this. So this is homemade milled sourdough bread from my extremely pregnant sister-in-law. Dude, this is as healthy as it gets. Home milled means that they got the whole grains and they have a mill at their house that they mill it themselves and then make it. That's why it looks like that, as real as it gets, which makes it extremely different from the bread you buy in the stores that has a ton of those, like, you know, like preservatives, a ton of ingredients for no reason. Like, bread should only have like what, yeast, water, flour, that's it. And then you like buy bread at like the grocery store and it has like 15 ingredients for absolutely no reason. And then you chase it with the bread. Not gonna lie, kind of outdid myself on this one. Now I'm gonna be having some chili my fiance made. And we pretty much have like 20 pounds of it in the fridge. But look at that. It's shredded chicken, garbanzo beans, I think pinto beans, corn, onion, and a bunch of other random stuff. I will say though, I just had a recent massive improvement. I never had like a drinking problem, like ever really. I'm just like, it's pretty, like in college I drank whatever, like every week I went out, whatever. If I went to dinner, I might have like a couple drinks, nothing crazy. But it's like most people where like you go out, you drink, like if you go to a dinner, you might have like a couple drinks. At a wedding, you'll definitely drink, like those kinds of things. A couple days ago was my cousin's wedding. And ever since I was like in college up until now, I had never gone sober during a party, wedding, a night out. Never had a problem with it, but just like everyone, like if you're at a party, wedding, or if you're at like a bar, you're gonna drink. So I never really done any of that sober. But a couple days ago at the wedding, I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see if I could actually pull it off, because I've always thought it'd be a superpower if you could go to one of these places where everyone's drinking, could go sober and have just as much fun, if not more fun. I've always thought that. So this past time, my goal is to not drink at all. And in the span of like the 8 hours that the wedding was, more or less, I only had 2 seltzers. 2 seltzers over the span of like 8 hours, pretty much sober. I could fly an airplane with that amount of alcohol in my system. And it was sick. I mean, like, I don't feel like when we were like dancing, I still danced. I still spoke. I felt good. Like I had fun, and I think I had pretty much just as much fun than if I would have drinking. And even if let's say if I would have gone hammered and I would have had slightly more fun, it still would not have been worth the next day and everything. And so like I only had those 2 drinks, and by the end of the night, that's when you really notice it. And I used to notice this too. When you're really drinking, the closer you get to the end of the night, the more you kind of start regretting the fact that you're hammered, because you know you're just gonna feel like shit the next day. It's just gonna completely ruin the next day. So the later it got during the wedding, like the better I felt, because I knew I was gonna be able to wake up early and feel completely fine. So that's what happened. It was sick. Technically, it wasn't fully sober doing it because I had like 2 seltzers, but massive improvement. I've always said this, if I can continue pulling it off, having just as much fun as the people who do drink while being sober, literal superpower. Dude, let's make some yogurt. So this is, as you know, if you've been watching my last videos, an absolute staple, daily staple. Greek yogurt, very important, 5%. So this is whole fat. So none of that fat-free bullshit, none of that. Eating fat doesn't make you gain weight. That's not how it works. In fact, eating healthy fats like Greek yogurt is incredibly good for you. And something I've been thinking about a lot recently, I think in today's society, we've never had more freedom than now. Freedom for anything. I mean, just as humans in this country. We've never had more freedom. We're, you know, free to drink whenever we want, free to smoke weed, free to do nicotine, free to vape, free to watch porn. All of these hedonic desires have never been more accessible than now. I think a lot of people confuse what it really means to have freedom. And I think it shows in, you know, today's depression rates, the anxiety. Everyone's more anxious than ever. Everyone's more stressed than ever. Look at this bowl of berries. So I'll put a little stevia on it. But yeah, I think people confuse what true freedom actually is. People think it's good, or at least it's become very socially acceptable to say, oh yeah, like if you ask anyone, yeah, I want to be free to drink whenever I want, free to, smoke weed whenever I want, free to watch porn whenever I want, free to hook up with people as much as I want. And they think that is freedom. But I think what I've realized recently is that's a complete opposite of freedom. Because what happens there is, if you're consistently giving into your desires in short-term pleasure, that's not freedom at all. In fact, it's the complete opposite. You become a slave to your desires, because true freedom comes from discipline. That's why Jocko Willink, famous phrase, discipline equals freedom, is so true. Because if you have the discipline to avoid short-term gratification, then you'll see massive benefits in the long run. And a good sign of this, or an easy way to phrase it, is if anything makes you feel good almost immediately with zero effort involved, it's probably not good. And I'm not telling you this from someone who has it all figured out. No, I'm saying this because I've lived it, like in direct experience. I've been in the very recent past, I've been addicted to Zins, which is like the little nicotine pouches, and you become a complete slave to it, because it just becomes, when am I gonna have the next Zin? When am I gonna have the next Zin? As soon as you have one, it lasts like 10 minutes, and then now for the next hour, however long it is, it's looking forward to that next one, and then that next one, and that next one, and it never ends. And it doesn't fulfill your desire ever. The more you do it, the more you want to do it. It's not like you do it and then you're fine. No, it's like it's like an itch that never gets scratched and only gets itchier. And so you become just a complete slave to it, because everything's fine. Everything's fine when, you're craving it and you put one in your mouth and it's fine. But it's when you don't have one that now you start to, like fiend for it, and it completely ruins your mood. It makes you way more anxious. It just completely destroys your mood, because now you don't have access to it, and now you're craving it and there's no way to get it, and that's all you're thinking about. It ruins your present moment. You can't enjoy anything. That's what I've experienced in my life, which is why it's been so hard to quit it. And I'm currently in that process of quitting. And so it's miserable. But once you start to overcome it, it's incredible, because you no longer feel that constant craving, and you just feel free, dude. You're not a slave to the desire anymore. Like, you just feel so much freer, so much calmer. Your mood is more stable, because then instead of it being like you crave it, you get it, you crave it, you get it, it's just, you're able to find more peace and joy without needing, any substance. That's like the honest truth about why I've really been thinking about it, is because I've struggled with it, in my life. Just cooked this up, and this is how it looks in real life. Honestly, yeah, it looks really different, but it's still good as fuck. White rice, which was actually cooked to perfection today. Fiber for a little mid-meal snack. Creatine, by far my favorite supplement. Roughly taking I would say 7 or 8 grams, maybe 10. Best supplement for building muscle, besides steroids. And this has 90 grams of protein. And that's not even that much chicken. That's really not that much chicken. We are easily gonna be crushing our protein goal today of at least 180 grams. Now it's time to make some grass-fed steak on the Blackstone. Look at this little beauty. The steak is ready. Let's munch. This is one of the few things I do know how to cook. Let's see if I actually cook this right. That's perfect. That's literally perfect. Miss Lady, do you want any?
That's so raw.
That's cooked red chicken. This is perfect. Maybe one of my best ones yet.
Of course, when I'm not eating it.
Is it good?
Yeah, what the heck? Of course, when I'm not eating it.
So
You do that on purpose.
You're so stupid. I always cook it well. I always cook it.
Spill coffee on the couch?
No, I think that's coffee powder for my forearm this morning or something. This steak has 45 grams of protein, pretty solid. Now, I'm not gonna get every one of those 45 grams.
Why not?
Because my fiance is stealing my protein, but that's okay. What's more? There it goes, another 3 grams.
You're so stupid.
I'm gonna finish munching.